Hello everyone, and welcome back. We are going to hop right into the match, and we have Sam versus Martin, of course. As we were talking about the teams, Sam has a bit of an unconventional team using Machamp, Marowak, Gyarados, Celesteela, Coco, and Neoligo. We see the Tapu Koko and Neoligo start, and on Martin's side of the field, we see a Coco mirror match, and he decides to start a Snorlax. Snorlax is a very bulky Pokemon, and I do believe can live a hit through Coco or Nihilego. On turn one, Martin is going to switch out and bring in his Machamp, so we do actually get to see the Machamp. And Sam is going to go for a Thunderbolt onto the opposing Tapu Koko. Or, I apologize, Martin is. This reveals Martin's Life Orb that is on the Koko. Sam then goes for a Dazzling Gleam. On this turn, we see Sam retreat out his Tapu Koko, who was damaged, and goes into the Marowak. This is an interesting switch because we know that Martin had went for an electric move on the turn before. We now know all of Sam's Pokemon that they have on their team. And Tapu Koko goes for a Dazzling Gleam, and that is a very good choice, knowing that it's super effective against the Machamp. And unfortunately, Machamp did not get a chance to keep going. Machamp may normally live that hit, but with the added power of the Life Orb from the Tapu Koko, it may have been enough to knock it out.
Sorry guys, we were working out. There was a holdup with Hack Check there, so we were trying to figure that out. It seems like one of the top 8 players had 2 copies, a digital copy and a physical copy of his cartridge, and they hack checked the wrong one, and now there's might be discussion of someone switching between cartridges or copies to play in Swiss.
Well, I'm certainly glad to have you back with me, Abe. And guys, when a live show happens, the show must go on. So you just had me for a second, but now we can bring you some dual commentary, which I like much better, and I'm sure you do too. So to catch you up on the speed, Abe, we had seen that Sam his Machamp had came into play and unfortunately lost to Tapu Koko Dazzling Gleam. We know that Martin's Tapu Koko has a Life Orb, so it had that extra damage there.
Yeah.
We see Celesteela just pick up the KO on the Neoligo and get the Beast Boost, but Marowak is going to aim his Flare Blitz right into the Celesteela and pick up the knockout. This was a brutal turn. Pokemon fainting left and right.
Oh my god, yeah. From the looks of it, Sam is the one with the Marowak. So I believe they're switched on stream. It looks like they're reversed right now, because Martin is on the left side of the stream. That is Martin, and Sam is on the right now. So there we go. They're switched now. So Sam with that Marowak is... I feel like he got the better of that exchange. He kept his Marowak around, was just able to ensure that, you know, nothing really happened to it, but Martin's really put himself in a good position now. The Garchomp is going to be able to take out both these Pokemon this turn if Sam doesn't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
It looks like Sam is just going to go straight for the Dazzling Gleam. Oh my god, that almost a
There's
critical
the critical hit. Almost enough for the knockout. We do see Martin go for the Z dance. Thank you, Martin. Who do you think that this Z move is aiming into? Both of them are so low health.
I imagine that Marowak, mostly because the Snorlax probably doesn't have a way to damage it outside high horsepower, which isn't exactly the move you want to pick here. It's a little bit inaccurate. You'd rather just go for that accuracy right now.
Absolutely, and here we go, just like you say, aiming the 100% accurate return into the Coco, picking up the KO. So Martin is going to take game 1 in this set.
Very good job to Martin.
So to start the match, I know you were handling some business, Abe. We had seen a Tapu Koko start from both Martin and Sam. Yep. However, Sam led Nihiligo next to the Tapu Koko, and Martin had led Snorlax next to the Tapu Koko. Snorlax, being able to take a hit or two, was able to stay alive for the end of that game and wrapped it up for him. But it was a pretty good back and forth. They were really just attacking each other heavy, knocking each other's Pokemon out.
Well, okay, so in this match, if you're Sam, what would you do?
If I were Sam, I would think about what went wrong last game. The play that I remember that was a crucial turning point were that Sam had switched into his Machamp. However, Martin was able to knock out the Machamp before Machamp did anything with a Life Orb Dazzling Gleam. So if Sam chooses to bring Machamp again, which I hope that he does because I love the Pokemon, but he needs to figure out a way to make sure that it does a little bit more in this match.
I feel like Sam was maybe trying to trade a little bit too much. He was really just going, okay, you take this knockout, I'll take this knockout. And in the end, I tend to find that when that happens, you lose more Pokemon in return, you know?
Absolutely.
It's sort of like in chess. There's often a little rule where it's been a while since I've played, but someone once told me never to take a piece if it's offered to you, unless you have to, because it's usually a trap. In this case,
I love your mindset.
The trading game can work out, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, I think, you hit the nail right on the head because I think Martin knew that those trades were going to happen, like you said. However, he came out on top.
I want to see Sam maybe play a more slower, conservative game. His team is very offensive, but if he can possibly find a way to prevent a lot of damage to his... or get rid of some of those threats that Martin has, such as the Tapu Koko, to a Celesteela, he might be able to close out the game with just the Celesteela win condition.
I love the lead of Marowak going into the Koko. Very well positioned right now. However, I do see that Snorlax on the field. And Snorlax is such a bulky Pokemon, and he can do so much. How is Sam going to damage this Snorlax?
I have to think that Sam's probably afraid of the high horsepower here. Just making sure that he doesn't get any damage off on that Nihilego, because the Nihilego is going to be doing a ton of damage later. Oh, and it looks like the Snorlax is going to target down the Marowak. That's pretty big for Martin. Being able to remove that Marowak early on is really going to prevent Sam from redirecting those electric-type attacks.
It's very difficult to pick a moveset for Snorlax. You can pick between many options from Wild Charge, Return, even like we had just seen, High Horsepower. He's proven that his moveset on Snorlax, it's a very well-trained Snorlax because High Horsepower, like you said, is very good. I do like the switch into the Celesteela trying to draw out that miss, but unfortunately Martin had Sam's number on that play.
And we see the Machamp coming in. This is going to be interesting. The Celesteela walls out both Garchomp and Snorlax. So if Martin wants to try and come in and do a ton of damage to the Celesteela, he's going to have to bring in that Koko, and Sam smartly preserved his Marowak just for that case.
Absolutely. I really also like the chip damage that Sam just picked up on the Garchomp. I have no idea what the damage calculations are between Machamp and Garchomp, but I'd imagine that Garchomp is now in KO range for a Machamp, especially if that Machamp gets lucky with a critical hit.
That Machamp also has the wonderful position right now to threaten that Snorlax. Snorlax is so bulky, so frustrating to deal with, especially with those giant 50% berries, and Snorlax is always, well, almost always, going to get its 50% berry popped because of its gluttony ability. restoring health at 50% when its health bar drops below 50%.
I'm glad you had said that. I had just asked you a couple turns ago, how would he even deal with the Snorlax? We have the answer right in front of us.
We're going to see the Machamp go for Protect. Is it Machamp or Machamp? I've never been sure.
I say Machamp, but honestly, I am not the one to ask, my friend.
It looks like Martin's going to go for the Z move, Tectonic Rage. I can't imagine that's targeting the Celesteela. Probably into the Machamp, which protected, so good on Sam for that play. We'll have to see what the Celesteela goes for. Maybe some more chip damage on the Garchomp. The Snorlax probably wasn't too big of a threat to Sam at the moment, so I'm thinking the Garchomp right now.
It was a very good play by Sam to scout the potential knockout on his own Machamp, going for the Protect and wasting the Z move of Martin. So Martin no longer has a Z move for the rest of the game. Machamp is decently healthy enough to maybe stick around a little bit longer, and Celesteela is just doing work.
Yeah, for sure. As I said earlier, we see Martin has brought, I don't think he brought that Arcanine. I think we've seen all 4 of his Pokemon now. So he's going to have to rely on that Tapu Koko or maybe his own Celesteela to knock out Sam's Celesteela.
Very nice with the Bullet Punch. We had seen the Bullet Punch yesterday from the Tapu Fini, and that is just enough to knock out the Garchomp. Sam had a very clear pathway to knock out that Garchomp. Surprising in some ways, and it worked out well.
Ooh, the Machamp living with 1 HP. That is huge. One of the things I was about to point out was if that Celesteela starts getting beast boosts, it can boost its special defense, it can boost its attack maybe. I think most of them run special defense now though. And that could really cause trouble for Sam. We might end up with Celesteela mirrors.
Absolutely. Sam is in a very good position right now.
He does still have that Marowak, remember? So he can bring it in, prevent that Tapu Koko from dealing with his Celesteela, right? I think Sam's in a really good position to possibly take game 2. He still has 4 Pokemon. Martin, on the other hand, if he can start getting boosts up with his Celesteela, if one of them starts revealing Flamethrower, then we can see a very different matchup.
We see a retreat from the Celesteela to get out of the
Leech Seed.
Leech Seed, yes. And Sam's Celesteela is going to go for a Protect. Very interesting choice. I think that the Tapu Koko would go for the Dazzling Gleam to pick up the KO on the Machamp. However, this does give Sam a free switch-in, so I can't say that Sam didn't want this to happen.
You know what? I think Sam really wanted the free switch into Marowak, but what Martin did was actually a really great play. If the Marowak came in on Celesteela and Tapu Koko, then the Marowak was guaranteed to put a lot of pressure on both of them. But now that Martin switched in the Snorlax, he's putting a ton of pressure in return onto whatever wants to switch in when that Machamp gets knocked out, right? So I think this is a really smart play from Martin. He's able to bring in the Snorlax and really put... Because as we saw, Sam was predicting a Thunderbolt into Celesteela,
yes.
And just wanted his, or possibly just wanted his Machamp to die so that he could bring in his Marowak safely. But this way, Martin gets more momentum. He's able to really pressure whatever wants to switch in.
I really like the switch from Martin here, drawing the potential Sludge Bomb, even though we see Nihiligo go for a Protect. There was a potential Sludge Bomb going into that slot. And not only that, he does get to reactivate the Electric Terrain, which may make a big difference later on in this game.
And this is something really important, right? We just saw the Celesteela go for Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam's a great move, except when used on Pokemon that are very heavy. It calculates the difference between the weight of your Pokemon and the Pokemon you're attacking. In this case, Celesteela is very heavy, and it hits almost all the metagame for maximum damage, except for Snorlax and Mudsdale. Those are the 2 main ones that I always think about. Snorlax is so bulky, and on top of it, it has that massive defense. It has that massive weight, so Heavy Slam is not doing a lot.
We see Sam decide to attack into the Celesteela. However, Martin Celesteela will just attack right back and pick up the KO and the Beast Boost onto the Celesteela. Sam's trying to position himself to take out this Snorlax, and Snorlax is going to try to set up on Sam.
So now it's going to come down to whether or not Sam can keep his Marowak alive long enough that his own Celesteela can close out that endgame.
We do know that Snorlax has the attack to deal with Marowak and high horsepower.
But if Sam loses that Marowak, Martin's Tapu Koko in the back can just switch in and start thunderbolting away.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a couple very critical turns in this match.
Martin did a great job regaining his momentum. Just a few turns ago, we were saying how well-positioned Sam was with 4 Pokemon left.
Yeah, and he had the Machamp out, and he had to really threaten that Snorlax. He had the Marowak in the back to possibly switch in. But now the Snorlax has really taken over the field, right? Marowak's going to have to try and burn a couple turns of Protect. Sam's going to have to try and figure out what he can do to... Oh, the Flamethrower coming out.
Very nice choice. Trying to pick up the burn on the Snorlax so that way Marowak could potentially live a high horsepower from the Snorlax.
This does change how the Celesteela endgame will play out. I think Sam now knows that his Celesteela can probably close out the endgame so long as that Tapu Koko isn't around. But Snorlax going to pop its berry.
Yes, there's that Gluttony activation like you were saying. Snorlax has so much health and so much bulk. He has to be one of the better users of the Confusion Berries.
For sure. Looking at this, it looks like Sam's best option is just to try and KO that Snorlax somehow. Maybe try and go for the Celesteela. Oh, doubles into the Celesteela Protect.
And then high horsepower does connect into the Marowak, and this should be a KO'd Marowak. We knew that Snorlax had set up a curse, so it's a little bit stronger than it normally would be. And Sam is in a very difficult position. Even though Celesteela may be able to deal with Snorlax and the opposing Celesteela, I don't know if it'll be able to handle that Koko when it comes in.
So now, if you're Martin, you can probably just time out Sam. But you have to be careful, right? If you switch in that Tapu Koko on the wrong move and get hit by a Heavy Slam, things can get shaky for you. You might not have your win condition. And if you let Sam get a Flamethrower off on... For Martin, if you let Sam get a Flamethrower off on your Celesteela and it picks up a knockout and maybe gets a special defense boost, then you also give him a slight out. So you do have to play this a little carefully, even though it does seem like Martin has the upper hand here.
Absolutely. You can always win in Pokemon. There's many variables that are out of someone's control. Now, we know that the Snorlax has Curse, High Horsepower, and Return. I don't believe I've seen the 4th move on this Snorlax yet.
I would suspect Protect or maybe Recycle. I'm not totally sure which one. If that Snorlax has Recycle, it's very likely that this could go on for quite a while.
Yes. We may be in for a long match.
It looks like Martin's going to try and maybe set up a bunch of curses and just hit as hard of a return as possible. Even on a resisted hit like Celesteela, it's still going to do a bunch of damage. Sam Celesteela doesn't really have much of a way to do damage to this Snorlax. Aside of Flamethrower and Heavy Slam, it looks like he's revealed his full moveset, and he doesn't really have the ability to do that.
It'll be interesting to see if he tries to continue to go for the burn on the Snorlax. And like you said, Tapu Koko is the key to Martin winning this game easily. So he can't switch it in, though, at the wrong time, like you had said. Martin finally lands the Leech Seed on Sam Celesteela.
He was going for that for quite a while. Snorlax content to just curse. The probability, I think, is that it's going to be Recycle, and he's going to get that berry right back and heal back up to 100% health.
If we do see Recycle on the Snorlax, Sam will certainly have to think about how he's going to win this match. Knowing the entire moveset of Sam Celesteela, besides a critical hit, there are not many ways to be able to deal huge chunks of damage. I know Sam would love to be able to get a Beast Boost on the Celesteela.
For sure. If he can get a Beast Boost, he might be able to close it out, but outside of that, I don't really know what he can do. Maybe if he can get a critical hit on this Snorlax or a burn, he might be able to knock off a bit more damage, but all this while, Snorlax is just sitting there and I don't think caring much. Oh, Martin
Martin has Flamethrower now, and there's the Recycle that we were talking about. So Recycle will allow you to gain back an item that you have previously used in this game. So since Snorlax had already ate the Figgy Berry, it can recycle and eat the Figgy Berry again. Snorlax now no longer has an item, so if it would like to, it can choose to recycle yet again.
It looks like I was correct earlier in saying that a lot of Celesteela are carrying Flamethrower, and it's specifically, I think, to deal with matchups like this. Even still, you can already see that it's just going to take long, even with the Flamethrower. Martin has great positioning, but it's still taking incredibly long. Celesteela versus Celesteela versus Snorlax. These things are so bulky. It looks
really
like
are.
Martin looks like he's pretending to fall asleep there.
You know, I will have to say, though, oh, that did great damage. I will have, there's the critical hit. I was about to say, man, how did it do that much damage? But, you know, there are many strategies in order to win a Pokemon game. And there is nothing wrong with taking a slow, methodical route to win a game, especially when you're in the top 8. So even though it might not be as exciting as knockout, 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 you know, this is a really legitimate strategy, and these players are thinking very hard, trying to win to make it to the top 4.
For sure. It's an uphill battle for Sam. But, you know, anything can happen in this game. Really. I've seen a Heatran get frozen. I don't know how that's possible. Heatran's made out of magma, but I've seen it happen. Anything's possible in this game.
Absolutely. I wonder if Sam has decided to grind out the battle tree to get those PP maxes. It's very important that he has as many moves as possible. His Celesteela will certainly run out of moves before 3 of Martin's Pokemon.
Yeah, if we start seeing Struggle, I think that's going to be it for Sam. Struggle deals a quarter of your own HP every time you hit, and it is just an awful move.
Oh, he switches the Celesteela and goes into Tapu Koko. Sam seems very happy about this.
Let's see if he went for possibly the Heavy Slam.
No kidding. Into the Koko slot? Unbelievable.
How did he get that so perfectly timed? It's not going to be enough, but still, that was quite the prediction.
Sam, way to go out looking like a champion, my friend. That was the most brilliant play. That was incredible. Just when we were saying, man, this match is going to be, you know, a little long and drawn out, you know, Sam is able to see something that we aren't. Goes for the Heavy Slam into the Celesteela slot. Beautiful.
You can see Leech Seed recovery is based upon the opponent's HP. So you saw how much health that Tapu Koko recovered.
Yes.
It recovered probably upwards of 15, 20 maybe percent. 20 seems a bit high, but that was a lot.
Hopefully this Celesteela decides to go for a Protect, which will allow Tapu Koko to gain even more health back from the Leech Seed.
But on the other hand, it's also stalling out that electric terrain. If Sam wants to win, he's probably going to have to try and stall out the electric terrain.
I could be wrong. However, I think that since Celesteela is a flying Pokemon, I don't know if the bonus from the electric terrain will apply to Tapu Koko's attacks.
It will.
Okay.
For attacking moves, I believe it's based upon the attacker. For the defending moves, like Spore and like status moves, I believe it's based upon if the target is on the ground. I know it's usually based upon the target, but I believe for the attacking moves, it grants the bonus to the attacker.
We do see Celesteela try to go for another Protect. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen, and that will be the rest of the game. Sam, congratulations on making it to the top 8. You really played absolutely wonderful this tournament, and you put on a great show. That heavy slam was the perfect way to go out, and you should hold your head high for that one. But I do have to say congratulations to Martin, who is moving on to the top 4.
For sure. That was a great match. I think Martin really just showed his understanding of the game, willing to trade knockouts with Sam for some of his more important Pokemon, and really recognizes his win conditions. We said earlier, Sam had a great position with that Machamp in. He had that great position with that Marowak in the back to possibly switch in on any electric moves from Tapu Koko for Lightning Rod. And Martin was able to play around it. He was able to put himself back in that momentum position. He's able to get the knockouts, prevent that Marowak from doing any sort of damage in the matchup, and just, really take control of the game. So I really think Martin deserved that win. He played it very, very well. And it's great to see. We knew a Canadian was moving on, but it's great to see a Canadian in top 4.
Of course, I'm happy for you, man. And I can't really be partial to one way or another, but I at least hope to maybe see a Canadian in the top final match. That would be great for you guys to at least have a shot to take it home.
For
now,
sure.
To talk about Sam's team at the beginning, when we were discussing the teams, we thought that Sam possibly had the advantage because of his unconventional play. How was Martin able to use his consistent play to stop Sam from really able to get going? Because we've seen the Machamp, he wanted to come in, he wanted to do his Machamp things, but it just didn't happen.
I think Martin just put a lot of pressure on. And when you have a lot of pressure on, sometimes you instinctually switch out, sometimes you instinctually just say, okay, I need to get rid of this Pokemon that's threatening me so much. So in Martin's case, I think he did a really good job at just threatening Sam and forcing Sam to make trades that weren't necessarily good for him, as we were talking about, similar to chess, right?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, for Sam, I do believe Martin was setting up those trades in the game 1. We had seen that crazy turn where 3 Pokemon got knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but like you had said, it ultimately had led to Martin being in favor in that situation.
For sure.
So I had a wonderful time watching that match, and I would love to be able to talk to the winner. So I think that I'm going to go ahead and get up, find out what's going on with the rest of the tournament, and go ahead and grab our winner for an interview. So hang tight, everyone.